elegantly plated, served with the good china that only came out when serious family discussions were needed. I'd learned to dread these dinners over the years. They always meant the same thing. Someone needed money and I was the designated provider. Your brother has an incredible opportunity, Dad began, carving the roast with the same authority he brought to all his pronouncements. A tech startup. Revolutionary concept. Ground floor investment opportunity. I was 33 years old, a senior compliance officer at Titan Financial Group. My brother Chase was 29 with 5 failed businesses behind him and an MBA from a school that had since lost its accreditation. What kind of startup? I asked, though I'd heard versions of this pitch 4 times before. AI-powered social media analytics, Chase said, his eyes bright with the fervor of someone who'd just discovered a trend everyone else had moved past 3 years ago. We'll help influencers optimize their content. The market is huge. We need seed money, Dad continued. Your mother and I have already contributed $30,000. Your aunt and uncle put in 20. Now we need you to match our investment. $50,000. I took a sip of water, buying time. You said, match your investment. $50,000 is more than your 30. We're covering additional costs, Mom interjected smoothly. Office space, equipment, marketing materials. Your $50,000 goes directly to development and launch. This was Chase's 6th business venture. The first 5 had cost my family, meaning me, a cumulative $240,000. An organic juice bar that closed after 4 months. A cryptocurrency consulting firm that launched weeks before the 2018 crash. A high-end pet accessories boutique. A mobile app for restaurant reservations that never made it past beta. A consulting business that never landed a single client. Each time the pitch had been identical. Revolutionary, ground floor, can't miss. Each time I'd been told it was a loan that would be repaid with interest. Each time the business failed and the money vanished. Chase, what happened to the consulting business? I asked. You launched that 8 months ago. Market wasn't ready, he said dismissively. But this is different. I've learned from my mistakes. This one is solid. They're all solid until they're not, I said quietly. Dad's fork clattered against his plate. That's a terrible attitude. Your brother is an entrepreneur. Not every venture succeeds, but the ones that do make fortunes. We need to support him. I have supported him. To the tune of $240,000 over 6 years. The table went silent. Those were investments, Mom said carefully. Not gifts. And certainly not failures. They were learning experiences. Learning experiences that cost $250,000. You act like that's significant money, Chase said, a defensive edge in his voice. You work in finance. You make good money. What's $50,000 to you? My phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced at the screen under the table. Unusual account activity detected. Chase Chin attempted access to savings account 7743. My blood went cold. Excuse me, I said, standing. I need to take this call. I walked into the hallway and called the fraud department at my bank. Sandra Chin, head of security, answered immediately. Ms. Morrison, we've detected multiple unauthorized access attempts to your accounts in the past 48 hours. Someone has your account numbers and has been trying different password combinations. Can you trace the IP address? Already did. It's coming from a residential address in Maple Grove. Is that familiar? My parents' address. Yes. Can you tell me which accounts were targeted? Your primary savings, your investment account, and interestingly, you have some international accounts flagged with special security protocols. Someone tried to access those as well, but the multi-factor authentication stopped them. The offshore accounts. The ones nobody in my family knew about. Sandra, I need you to freeze everything except my primary checking. And send me the complete access logs. Already in process. Ms. Morrison, given the systematic nature of these attempts and the fact that they're coming from a known location, I need to ask. Do you know who might be doing this? Through the doorway, I could see my family at the dinner table, still eating, still discussing Chase's latest venture. Yes. I know exactly who it is. I returned to the dining room and set my phone face down on the table. That was bank security. Someone's been trying to hack into my accounts. Chase's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Really? Mom's voice was concerned, but her eyes darted to Chase. That's terrible. Identity theft is so common these days. It is. especially when the thief has your account numbers. I looked directly at Chase. How did you get my account information? What are you talking about? But his face had gone pale. I pulled up the security logs Sandra had sent. These are the access attempts. 7 tries on my savings account. 4 on my investment account. All in the past 2 days. All from this house. That's impossible, Dad said, but his voice lacked conviction. Is it? Chase, you were at my apartment last month. You asked to use my laptop to check your email. Did you go through my files? I didn't, because these account numbers aren't stored anywhere except in my personal finance spreadsheet. The one on my laptop. Mom set down her wine glass. Sophia, even if Chase saw some numbers, he wouldn't try to access your accounts. He's your brother. He's tried to access them 14 times in 2 days. And this isn't the first time. I pulled up another document. 3 months ago, someone tried to transfer money from my savings to an account registered to Chase's LLC. It was flagged and stopped. I thought it was a technical error. This is ridiculous, Chase said, standing up. You're accusing me of being a criminal because your bank made mistakes. Sit down, I said quietly, and something in my voice made him obey. We're not done. I opened my laptop and pulled up a comprehensive financial analysis I'd been compiling for months. I've been tracking family financial requests for years. Every loan, every investment, every emergency. Here's the summary. The spreadsheet filled the screen. Total given to family, 2018 to 2024, $240,000. Chase's business ventures, $185,000. Parents, emergency, requests, $41,000. Family vacations/events, $14,000. Total repaid, $0. $250,000, I said. Not 1 cent repaid. And now Chase is trying to hack my accounts for more. Those weren't loans, Dad said. Those were family investments. When Chase's businesses succeed, we all benefit. None of them have succeeded. And they won't, because Chase doesn't build businesses. He burns through money and moves on to the next idea. You don't know that, Chase said defensively. This startup is different. They're all different. They're all revolutionary. And they all fail. I clicked to another tab. Want to know why? Because you've never worked for anyone else. Never learned how actual businesses operate. Never developed real skills. You go from idea to idea, spending other people's money, learning nothing. That's not fair, Mom interjected. Chase is ambitious. Chase is reckless. And you enable it. I turned to my parents. Every failed business, you've told him it wasn't his fault. Market timing, bad luck, unfair competition. Never that he didn't do the work or learn the fundamentals. My phone rang. I answered on speaker. Ms. Morrison, this is Detective James Walsh with the Financial Crimes Unit. Your bank forwarded their security report. I need to ask you some questions about attempted account fraud. The color drained from Chase's face. Of course, Detective. I'm actually with my family now. The activity originated from this location. I see. We've identified the device used for the access attempts. We'll need to examine it and interview anyone who had access to your account information. My brother Chase had access to my laptop last month. The attempt started shortly after. Chase stood abruptly. This is insane. You're calling the cops on your own brother over a misunderstanding. 14 attempted account breaches isn't a misunderstanding. It's systematic fraud. Detective, Dad said, his voice authoritative in the way it always was when he felt control slipping. This is a family matter. There's no need for police involvement. Sir, attempted unauthorized access to financial accounts is a crime. The bank is required to report it. Whether Ms. Morrison presses charges is her choice. Everyone looked at me. I want a full investigation, I said clearly. Sophia. Mom's voice cracked. He's your brother. And he tried to steal from me. After I've given him nearly $200,000. Chase sat back down heavily. I wasn't stealing. I needed to see how much you had. So I could make a proper business proposal. You tried to access accounts I never told you about. International accounts with their own security protocols. How did you even know they existed? Silence. Chase went through all your files, Dad said finally. He told us you were hiding money. That you had millions stashed away and were refusing to help family. The admission hung in the air. So you knew. You knew he'd hacked my laptop, found my account information and tried to access my money. And you said nothing. Where's resources? You have so much and Chase just needs a chance. I have so much because I work 80-hour weeks, because I invest carefully, because I don't spend money on failing businesses. I stood up, closing my laptop. And you're right, I do have money you don't know about. Want to see how much? I pulled up a different document. My complete financial portfolio. Domestic accounts. $890,000. International investment accounts. $2,400,000. Real estate holdings. $1,200,000. Retirement funds. $750,000. Company stock options. $1,100,000. Total net worth. $6,340,000. The silence was absolute. 6 million, Chase whispered. 6.3. I'm a senior compliance officer at one of the largest financial firms in the world. My salary is $380,000 annually. My bonuses average another $200,000. I have investment properties in 3 countries. The international accounts Chase tried to access? Those are managed by Swiss and Singapore wealth management firms. Why didn't you tell us? Mom asked. Why would I? Every time I've mentioned any success, it's immediately followed by a request for money. When I got promoted to senior officer, Dad asked me to fund Chase's juice bar. When I bought my first rental property, you said I should sell it and invest in Chase's crypto business. Because we're family, Dad said. That's what family does. No. That's what ATMs do. Family supports each other. They don't systematically exploit each other. Detective Walsh's voice came through the phone. Ms. Morrison, I'll need you to come to the station tomorrow to give a formal statement. We'll also need to examine the device used for the access attempts. That's my laptop, Chase said quietly. I'll bring it in. After I hung up, the dessert Mom had prepared sat untouched on the counter. The perfect family dinner had disintegrated into accusations and silence. Here's what happens now, I said. The investigation proceeds. Chase will likely face charges for attempted computer fraud and identity theft. You can cooperate, which might result in probation and restitution. Or fight it and face maximum penalties. You're really doing this, Chase said, not a question. You tried to steal from me after I'd already given you nearly $200,000. Yes, I'm really doing this. What about the startup? He asked, and the obliviousness was stunning. The startup that was your 6th business idea? The one you were going to fund with money you tried to steal? That startup is dead. You're killing his dreams, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. No. I'm refusing to fund his delusions. There's a difference. I picked up my bag. I've given you $240,000 over 6 years. I've supported every business, believed every pitch, accepted every excuse. And in return, you tried to hack my accounts for more. We didn't know you were keeping track, Dad said. That's the problem. You thought I was stupid enough not to notice. Compliant enough not to care. Desperate enough for family approval that I'd just keep giving. I walked toward the door. For the record, I loved you. Wanted to help you. Hoped each time would be different. But you never saw me as a person, just as a resource. Where do we go from here? Mom asked. That depends on you. Cooperate with the investigation and maybe we can rebuild something honest eventually. Fight it and I'll let the legal system handle everything. I left them sitting around the ruins of family dinner, the roast getting cold, the dessert untouched, and the fantasy that I was their unlimited bank account finally, definitively shattered. The investigation moved quickly. Chase's laptop contained not just my account information, but detailed notes on my spending patterns, investment strategies, and property holdings. He'd been systematically researching my finances for months, looking for the best way to access the maximum amount of money. The attempted hacks weren't desperation, they were calculated theft. Chase accepted a plea deal. 2 years probation, mandatory restitution of $5,000, all he could afford, and a permanent restraining order preventing him from accessing my financial information. My parents, as knowing participants, were required to attend financial counseling and forbidden from making any requests for money under penalty of violating the restraining order. The family fractured. Some relatives sided with Chase, calling me vindictive. Others, including my uncle Raymond, reached out with their own stories of Chase's business opportunities that had cost them money. He got $15,000 from me for the juice bar, Uncle Raymond told me. Said it was a guaranteed investment. When it failed, he said it was because of market forces and I shouldn't expect repayment because I was investing in family. The pattern extended beyond my immediate family. Chase had been running the same con on everyone, leveraging family obligation to fund his lifestyle. My career flourished. Without the constant drain of family financial emergencies, I was promoted to Vice President of Global Compliance. My investment portfolio grew to $7.2 million. I bought a vacation home in Barcelona. One of the properties Chase had tried to research on my laptop. But the real change was internal. The guilt that had always accompanied my success, the feeling that I should be doing more, giving more, being more for my family, finally lifted. I started dating someone I met at a financial conference. When I explained my family situation over dinner, expecting judgment, he said, "My family tried something similar. Good for you for protecting yourself." He understood that love shouldn't come with a price tag. 6 months after the dinner that changed everything, I received a letter from Chase. "Sophia, I'm in a court-mandated financial literacy program. Last week they had us calculate the real cost of our business ventures. When I added up what I'd lost, not just yours but everyone's, I finally understood. I stole $300,000 from family members. I destroyed relationships. I blamed everyone but myself. The program is teaching me what you tried to tell me. Businesses require work, not just ideas and other people's money. I got a job. Real job, steady paycheck, 9 to 5 at a marketing firm. It's entry level and I'm the oldest person in my cohort, but I'm learning what actual work looks like. This isn't an apology. I don't deserve forgiveness yet. This is just letting you know I'm trying to become the person who might someday deserve a sister like you. Faith." I read the letter 3 times looking for manipulation for the angle. But all I found was accountability, something my family had never offered before. I didn't respond. Maybe someday I would. Maybe this was the beginning of something honest. Or maybe it was closure, the acknowledgement I needed to fully move forward. Either way, I was free. The Sunday dinners with their demands and guilt had ended. The family investments had stopped. The exploitation had been exposed and legally prevented. I now had dinners with friends who celebrated my success without calculating what they could extract from it. I had a partner who respected my boundaries. I had a life that was genuinely mine. Mom's perfectly cooked roast had been the last meal where I pretended everything was normal. Where I swallowed my boundaries along with the food. Where I funded Chase's dreams while suppressing my own needs. The fraud department had called during dessert. By the time coffee would have been served, everything had changed. And I'd never been more certain I'd made the right choice. Family isn't supposed to be a business transaction. Love shouldn't require withdrawals. Support shouldn't mean financial exploitation. It took $6 million and 14 attempted hacks for me to finally understand. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to be used. And sometimes the family you need isn't the one you're born into, it's the one you choose. I chose freedom.